time to play.
Hi, and welcome back to Wild Dream, where we give you the freshest takes on the latest movies. My name is David.
And my name is Daniel.
All right, do your best clicker impression. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Thank you. I did play the game most recently.
Yeah.
So, which, by the way, Taylor is actually legitimately scared of those noises. Like, I can't do any of my zombie noises either. I watched a documentary about the people who cast for The Walking Dead and how long their teach you how to be a zombie school is of acting before you can be on the show. And so I was like, I always
think of the Key and Peele bit with the zombie movie and
the racist zombies.
like, no, it was
the alien one.
No, they played extras. They just played extras, and they kept trying to look at the camera and like be and they're like, "Hey, man, you can't."
They've done a lot of horror movie bits.
They really have. Yeah.
But yeah,
but we'll get into Peele later. But
which is a little bit of a reference to the fact that we just saw Jordan Peele's new movie, Him. Jordan Peele's new movie. Jordan Peele of Key and Peele fame.
This is
from Mad TV to Key and Peele. The director of Get Out, Us, and Nope brings to you via money. Brings to you
because he produced it.
Him. This is his movie. He made this. He made the money to produce this movie.
Yes. Him.
I feel like we've talked about this.
We have to talk about it right off the bat.
I feel like we've talked about this concept before on the pod, but an executive producer is someone who pays money to a movie and they have a financial interest in the movie doing well. Think of a executive producer like an investor in a business. Mm-hmm. They don't make any decisions about the business usually, but they do give the company money.
They're like the people on Shark Tank.
And if the company do well, then they do money well.
They do money.
An associate producer is usually actually on set on a day-to-day basis and usually a lot less famous. So Jordan Peele is a very big name in the horror genre and in the comedy genre.
Mostly known for Keanu.
I think primarily known for, what was the stop motion movie he did? Wendell and Carter or something like that?
Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah, when all these nuts gonna be in your mouth. You ever heard of Justin Tipping?
Justin Tipping, director of Kicks.
Justin Tipping, what I told her I was gonna do last night.
Hey, yo. Give me a drop. Yeah. I said give me a drop as if I said it.
Give me a drop.
Give me a drop.
Let's talk about it. This movie, Him, is not written or directed by Jordan Peele.
That's right.
He is not an associate producer. He's an executive producer of this movie. They have been promoting this movie for what feels like 2 years, as if this movie is written and directed by Jordan Peele. Mm-hmm. And it is. We talked about this on the companion episode. Feel free to pause right now and go listen to the entire companion episode and then come back. Welcome back. One of the things that we talked about on that episode was how much they were saying from the director of Barbarian brings you Companion. And we're like, this is not his movie. He produced this movie. He didn't make this movie. This is not his movie. He has a different movie coming out later. It's pretty good. Better than Companion, in my opinion.
It was.
This movie has gone even further than Companion ever did. To the point to where at one point I literally had to, like, Taylor was like, why do you guys keep saying this? And I'm like, Taylor, Jordan Peele's name is bigger than the name of the movie on the poster. Bro, it's like, it feels like sometimes like Stephen King novels, where you like Stephen King novels, they'll say like Stephen King's and then like the title like really small underneath. Mm-hmm. It's like, what is this movie, this book called Stephen King? Like, that's what it felt like. I was like, golly, man. Like, they are really trying to make people think that this movie was made by Jordan Peele. And I think in general... And of course, we never reviewed Nope on this podcast, famously.
You never reviewed that. Our very first episode, is Vengeance.
Vengeance.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that.
We never
famously, we don't mention it being the second episode in that episode. We don't do that.
Never reviewed Nope.
We did not review that movie. But what I will say is I like Jordan Peele's movies that he has written and directed. Okay, Get Out, Us, and Nope. I enjoy those movies. They are pretty good. I think when Get Out came out, originally it was really good. Now I've seen a lot of better horror and, whatever. And I go back to it. I'm like, yeah, the concept in general was really good, but it's not a very scary movie or by any means. And it's not graphic or anything like that. So, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty good movie. I think Us is a pretty good movie. It's got some good visuals. It's got some good concept of horror, some good acting. It's the concept is a little hard to get my head around, to a certain degree. And there are long, boring parts of the movie. But it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I thought Nope was pretty good. I was like, yeah, I like aliens, good acting, good visuals. A lot of metaphors in this one. I thought there were a lot of really long, boring parts of that movie. Jordan Peele produced movies are terrible. I think that the most notable ones were Candyman, and then Monkey Man. And then this one's just called Him. I don't know. It's not called Him Man.
True. Wait a minute.
And I think that you brought this up too. I thought like you had said maybe they're extra trying to make people think that it was a Jordan Peele movie because all of his movies are simple. Like Get Out is.
Yeah, this would have been his third. Say this was actually written and directed by Jordan Peele, which it wasn't. Just want to clarify that. If this was his movie, this would be the third movie in a row that's just a one-word title. It would have been Us, Nope, Him. And I think that they were banking on that. I'll tell you right now, I was on Twitter last night just kind of scrolling, and I saw someone talking about how bad Him was. And all of the replies were like, Jordan Peele is so fucking washed. I cannot believe how fucking bad this was, blah, blah, blah. Which we'll get into how we felt about the movie. But it's just what people are saying, right? People are saying blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, they actually convinced a lot of really dumb people. And honestly, not even that dumb. What else are they supposed to say?
Yeah.
What else are they supposed to think? Like, I remember
you called it Jordan Peele's movie.
Timothy was the first one that sent. I had seen it, like you said, Jordan Peele 500 size font, and then in 2-point font it said produced. Like that.
Yeah.
I had seen that.
And then in 10-point font, Him. It's like, okay, well, the name of the movie is smaller than Jordan Peele.
But then Timothy is the first one that sent me, I believe it was Complex Magazine. You sent me an Instagram post, and it was a picture of the cover of Him, and the caption was literally Jordan Peele's new movie, Him. So they started the further, like closer and closer it got to releasing, they were just genuinely outright lying. And they were saying Jordan Peele's new movie, Him.
Yeah. You got a notification from AMC.
Yeah.
That was like, don't forget to check out Jordan Peele's new movie, Him.
Yeah.
Like, it is bad, guys. Like, they were really, really trying to make everyone in the world think that Jordan Peele made this movie.
Yeah.
So either the bad reviews that came out really, tanked this movie, or Jordan Peele's movies, everyone else agrees with us and says that they're pretty good, but they're not the best. A lot of 5 out of 10s, 6 out of 10s, and, whatever. I don't know. But what I do know is this is the most dead a theater has ever been since the beginning of this podcast. Mm-hmm. This is, I swear to God, there were more people in I Saw the TV Glow than this movie.
Yeah, this is we're talking Friday night. This is the
Friday
night it releases.
And they are making this like this is the movie that this weekend Him is coming out. Like AMC is sending us a notification to come check out Him. That's the only movie coming out this weekend that's like the big movie. I have never seen a parking lot this empty.
Yeah.
We literally walked all the way through the line, got drinks, ordered them, filled them up, and then walked to a theater without seeing a single other person.
Yeah.
Other than staff.
Yeah, it was dead. There were, I believe, 4 other people in our theater for a Friday night premiere.
Friday night.
So the marketing ploy, the marketing con, if you will,
yeah,
did not work, and I think that it backfired. I think like you said, people who, if they were to just go in and see this movie for just what this movie is, from a new, fresh-faced director, they'd be like, all right.
Right.
But if they go in thinking this is Jordan Peele,
right,
who I have my own opinions on, I think Jordan Peele is one of the most overrated directors alive right now, but that is just me. And
I think that's fair to say because of what overrated means. I think he's an okay director, but people act like he's the greatest.
He's the new
director.
God of Horror, and I'm like, is he? I did not like Us. I thought Us was bad. Not even just I didn't like it. I thought it was a bad movie. I don't like Us. I thought Nope was mid, and then I liked Get Out. So there's never been a movie that he's made that I'm like, that was so fucking good ever.
Right.
Now I know
Keanu.
that, and I know that now Keanu, look.
I think we saw that in theaters.
We did. We're real, that's the thing too. We were fans of Jordan Peele before this whole directing thing.
We've been fans of Jordan Peele since Matt TV.
So
yes,
Matt TV, I mean, that's when I first got introduced to Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele. I loved them. I think that they are so fucking funny. I think Key and Peele is their magnum opus personally, but obviously that can be taken over. Who knows if he does end up making a movie that just is so fucking incredible. So yeah, I definitely don't think he's a bad director, and I don't think that, like, for the most part, he doesn't make bad movies. There's only one movie that I just genuinely thought was not good. So I have my own thoughts on him, but yes, you're right. He is put into this stratosphere of this means quality. That is what is understood when you say this is Jordan Peele's film. So if someone goes into him and they see this movie, they are more likely, if they think it's Jordan Peele's movie, to give this a 2 instead of like a 4. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
right.
they are their brains are already getting rotted. It would happen to me too. If I somehow got convinced that Yorgos Lanthimos made this movie, and this movie is made by Yorgos Lanthimos, and then I went in and it just didn't hit the marks that I was really thinking,
right.
I would not be giving that movie a fair chance. Right. So I feel kind of bad. I feel bad for this Justin Tipping guy that he didn't get a fair chance at. And
I think that we can also, you and I are actually pretty good at acknowledging when a movie is like not as good as other movies made by that same director. Even like, and of course you and I have varying opinions on this movie, but Last Night in Soho, I think you were on the more of the side of this is a bad movie. Like, didn't enjoy it. And I was like, this is a pretty good movie. It's not great, but it's all right. And I enjoyed it. And, it's Edgar Wright, but I can go into that movie and watch it and go, yeah, this is his worst movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give this movie any more than what it deserves because it was made by one of my favorite directors. And guess what? He has another movie coming out this year, and I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that movie is what it is. But I do agree with what you're saying, where it's like when you set your standards super high, you have high expectations for a movie, and you go into it and then it's not very good, you're going to be like, this movie was fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes we go into a movie, we think this movie is going to be absolutely dog shit, and then it's pretty good. And then we're like, did I enjoy that movie because I thought it was going to be terrible? Like, that's the thing. Like, you and I have to do that so much. Like, we have to decide, like, in our own heads, like, what were the circumstances around us viewing this movie? And let's just look at it for what it was and have to separate ourselves from that. And it's very difficult to do. But your casual moviegoer, like you said, it's just going to go see this movie and go, this movie was made by Jordan Peele. This fucking sucks.
Yeah, I think that Last Night in Soho is a great example because, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, if that movie wasn't made by Edgar Wright, I think I would like it more. Right. I'd be like, wow, look at this really impressive ballroom scene. Like, this is so well shot. But with
the mirrors, wow, they actually did a really good job with the mirrors and the reflections.
I would have more appreciation for the moments I enjoyed instead of just focusing on the moments I didn't enjoy and letting them add up. And that's like, that movie's pretty low for me, but it's like, yeah, if this was like a different director I wasn't familiar with or an up and coming director, I'd be like, wow, look at all this like potential. But so it's harder to appreciate the cool moments because it's like, yeah, that's what I expect from Edgar Wright. He's a fucking brilliant director especially with camera movements and cinematography and like getting that shit figured out. So
and timing with music and everything. So
yeah,
like
timing,
even the ballroom scene. It's like, well, it's perfectly timed with music and all these things. It's like, well, that's Edgar Wright. He does that
exactly.
And if you go see this movie and you're like, well, I actually really like the blah blah blah, but Jordan Peele's always good at that stuff. The slow suspense and the lighting, blah blah. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the reality is we knew that this wasn't a Jordan Peele movie. and we are not Jordan Peele Glazers either.
Also true.
So from both of those perspectives, we were able to go see this movie and go, it's all right.
Yeah. It wasn't great.
Wasn't great. Was not as bad as people are saying it is.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
People
as
saying
bad
it's
as
the
people
worst
say.
horror movie of the year. It's not going to be true.
Yeah, no shot.
I mean, what other horror movie? I'm trying to think.
The Conjuring was worse.
Oh yeah, The Conjuring was worse.
The Conjuring was worse than this.
I was just thinking because we actually have had a pretty good year for movies between
We've had good horror movies.
Weapons and Bring Her Back.
Bring Her Back.
Which if you're like, wait, those movies were good, yeah, go listen to our episodes on those two movies.
There you go.
Because if you haven't listened to those yet, you actually don't know if they're good or not. Because Wild Dream is the one who tells you if movies are good or not. And I think that's what all the people on Twitter are having trouble with right now. They're like, this movie was bad, but they haven't listened to the episode yet.
No, that's why.
So they don't
Because we haven't
know if
put
it's
the
good or
episode
bad
out. Damn.
Yeah.
So this will all change really soon.
Yeah. I feel like we need to, like, if we changed our rating scale from a number to it's either this movie was good, bad, or it was all right, I feel like people would be able to understand more.
Yeah, maybe we need to like align that type of scoring with our current one. I have to like. People are like, you gave that movie a 5 out of 10, and I'm like, yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
They're like, that's so low. And
There are a lot of people out there who think 7 is average. And I'm like,
all right.
you're just saying that because once upon a time you put a rate me on your fucking Facebook and someone called you a 7 and you're like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, maybe. Like I don't
Because you didn't want to be mean and tell somebody that they were a 5.
That's what I'm saying. If something is mid, it's right in the middle.
half
That's
good.
what mid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like mid. So middle of the road. Like that's what mid means. It's right in the. It's halfway. It's So above average to me is something above a 5. Something that's right in the middle that is average is a 5.
And 7 is officially good status.
Yeah,
Like 7 and above is like, this movie is good. And then like a 9 or 8 and 9.
yeah,
are
6
like,
is above average. 7 is good. 8 and 9 and stuff is great.
Yeah, 8, 9, and 9s are fantastic, phenomenal.
Yeah. So like.
And I don't think we've ever given a 10.
So maybe we haven't talked about this in depth, but that's how I feel. And if it's below a 5, then it's obviously less than mid. Like I will never watch this again.
I think it's also hard too when people are like, wait, you gave that movie a 2, but the other movie got a 4?
Yeah.
But they're like just the same amount. I'm like, yeah, well, I wouldn't rewatch one of them. Mm-hmm. And I would the other, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, point is that movie critique is difficult. And part of what goes into it is who you are. Personal perspective changes a lot. We are not Jordan Peele Glazers. We are also not haters either. And we knew that this movie wasn't actually made by Jordan Peele. So, those two things are in the back of our heads. So like the other thing is I'm seeing all these reviews. I'm like, I'm expecting it to be really, really bad because everyone online is saying it's really, really bad. This
Right.
is the worst horror movie of the year, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like going into it and I'm excited for the episode, but I'm not excited for the movie, and I think that was a big part of it because I was like, we get to talk about horror and football, 2 of my absolute favorite things in the world this time of year.
Yeah.
Like isn't that amazing? So I, for that part, I was excited about it and I was excited to talk about like Jordan Peele directed movies versus Jordan Peele produced movies.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peele produced movies have not reached above a 2 and Jordan Peele directed movies haven't reached below a 4. So it's like, for me at least, and so it's like, I just like, that's where I am with it, I'm like, it's very interesting from that perspective. However, I do think this is the best Jordan Peele produced movie so far. So that's got to count for something. Way better than Monkey Man. Go listen to our Monkey Man episode, which, by the way, blew up on YouTube. People love our videos. Do get posted on YouTube. This is an audio only podcast still. So if you go to Wild Dream Stream, you can actually find on YouTube our episodes there.
Which is really clutch for some people because not everybody has a subscription to a music service like Spotify or Apple or what have you. But yeah,
Apple but yeah, it's it's one of the worst audio quality episodes that we've done. But we did talk about like Jordan Peele producing this movie, and we talked about how late he got in on that and things like that. So we know that Jordan Peele is the kind of person who does put money towards a project that he does believe in, that he actually thinks is going to be good. But we also know that, at the end of the day, he owns a production company, and the goal of a production company is to make money. And they want to, help produce a movie, help promote a movie to get it out there. Obviously, that did not work because there was nobody in this theater. But I also think that it was, to a certain degree, it's a disservice. And I think exactly to your point where it's like, if you think this is a Jordan Peele movie, you're going to be more upset than if this was just some random Joe Schmo. But it was some random Joe Schmo, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm taking that into account when I say I thought this movie was all right. I thought this movie had a lot of potential. I thought it could have done a lot more with its plot structure if it had honed in what it wanted to do. And one of the things, like that's something that, you know, both of us, I think, came out of the movie thinking was like, this movie tried to do a little bit too much of everything. They tried to be abstract, but they also tried to be serious, and they tried to be like real life horror, but then also like hallucinogenic and like metaphorical horror, you know, and then they, you know, they tried to be, you know, sporty, but then they tried to be, you know, scary, and then they tried to be funny, you know. So it's just like it went in all these different directions where no scene just feels like a whole, you know, just like it doesn't come together really well.
Right.
And I think that that's very frustrating because I can see the potential. I can go, oh my God, like if they had honed in on these things and removed these certain scenes or these certain lines and focused more on these aspects of the movie and took out a couple of these, you know, shots or whatever, but, you know, it kept these things, like they could have just made the, like, take scenes from like, you know, bad scenes to good scenes and good scenes to great scenes.
Yeah.
You know, and they just didn't do that. But I can understand and respect that from a director who's like new to directing.
Yeah.
New word. You know, I'm not saying he's brand new, never done anything before, but like from the perspective of like, this is a up and coming director, someone who hasn't done a lot of feature length stuff and hasn't done something to this scale for sure with this type of a budget for sure. So from that perspective, I'm like, hey, you know, missed the mark on all these things. If you go make another thing, I'll probably go check it out. And I can say that comfortably because this isn't fucking Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty similar. When we talk about like rating movies, you're more in the camp of this is all right, you know, and I would say this movie is so I'm a little lower, I think, but like it was, I expected it to be dog shit trash, apparently, like that. So I was expecting like one of the worst movies I've seen all year, and it wasn't. So right off the bat, this movie is an hour and a half. There you go. So it's already points. So shout out to, you know, already it's like it's not spending too much time on itself. And I think that, yes, I remember thinking like, man, this movie wants to be everything that so badly that it ended up being kind of nothing. And there were some, when we get into spoiler talks, there was like a scene that I really, really loved that actually got to me and made me emotional. And I was like, I wish they would have focused on this, because by the time you can connect with it, they move on to something else. I also thought, as far as the cinematography goes, I remember thinking, this is the weirdest Gatorade commercial I've ever seen in my life.
Most accurate statement of all time. It is shot and filmed and edited.
Yes.
Like a Gatorade commercial.
Like a Gatorade commercial.
It's the lighting is like a Gatorade commercial. Mm-hmm. Like it is so, oh my gosh.
It's wild.
Like Gatorade and Nike were like, get me this guy.
Yeah. Even the title cards were very Gatorade commercial-esque. These like upside down, people running down a road in the middle of the desert, and it's tilting and swirling the camera.
I was waiting for the actors to start sweating blue.
Yes, dude. Yes, and like for some logos and product placement, which ironically, this movie suffered from not being able to use logos and product placement.
Yeah.
But like, so it has a really weird feel to it because it is very stylistic. It is so stylistic. It is definitely one of the most exemplary movies of style over substance, in my opinion. And so, but at the same time, it's not always a bad thing in this movie. It's not always a bad thing. There are some times where it's like, this looks fucking cool. And sometimes that's all I really want out of a movie, at least for certain sections. And so it's like, sometimes it actually really works to have this style over substance and to only focus on the cool visuals and cool sounds and stuff like that. I didn't have really many, it's actually have a funny answer for this, but as far as the performances that I like did not enjoy or whatever, there really weren't a whole lot. Like I enjoyed, it's a really small cast.
Yeah.
So And I feel like everyone did a pretty good job. Like I thought that the main character did a good job. Or the main actor thought he did a good job. I thought that Marlon Wayans did a good job. And we can talk about maybe some preferences for his character more so than maybe the actor.
Yeah.
And maybe he was cast, whatever. Yeah. So
I think that's something that they did really well too. It's like, it is a football movie. It's a movie about an athlete who is trying to make it into the, their version of the NFL, the professional league, the XFL, or whatever they call it.
I think it was called USFF, which I assume stands for United States Football Federation.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So like they're trying to do that. And it's like, I think that they, like this main character, I know this is not his first time playing a football player. So my assumption is that this guy was a high school football player turned actor because he looks like he plays football.
Really good shape.
Not just like physically, like obviously he's in good shape, but like when he throws a ball, I'm like, yeah, this guy looks like he was coached how to throw a ball.
Yes,
at one point
that's one of the absolute hardest things to do when you're making a sports movie is having actors performing a sport and it doesn't look fucking clunky and awkward and uncoordinated. If you've seen any Disney Channel original movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Bro, look at the Irish was the most accurate shit ever.
What's the one with the twins? What's the one with the twins? The twins. Girls.
It's called Double Trouble?
Double something.
Double Dribble.
That sounds right. It should be called Double Dribble. If it's not, they fucked up. But that one has like one of the funniest scenes of her like doing a little double step dribble to the right. Like it's just horrible. High School Musical is another one. It has some really bad so-called basketball playing. So it's like, I don't know. It's really, really hard to do. And I think that they did a good job in this movie. Everything actually looks like natural and he actually knows how to throw a football. So that was nice. And it's also nice seeing this actor again because I genuinely only know him from that one episode of Atlanta that's in like black and white.
Yeah.
So I've only seen him once. And so it was kind of cool to see him in a different role.
It's called Double Teamed.
I like Double Dribble better.
I like Double Dribble more too. Damn, missed opportunity, Disney.
Double Teamed, I've seen that.
Yeah, see, exactly. You don't want that for a Disney Channel original movie about teenagers.
Wait a minute, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double Teamed has a different meaning now.
Very different meaning. I'm glad you brought that up because, that is something that's really hard to do. Inversely, when you have athletes who become actors, so obviously they know how to perform the sport. Then you have that problem with it's not the action of doing their sport that looks clunky. It's the fact that they're like, hey, what's going on? Like they don't know how to act. And so shout out to one of the best I've seen recently, at least, was now he didn't play any basketball in it, but Kevin Garnett in Uncut Gems was great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He gets to play Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, he gets
he does.
But even that is kind of hard to do sometimes. Playing yourself in something, is kind of hard. But
I could also see him being like that, being like, "Hey, I want what I want," and give it to me. And I'm sorry we don't have our full soundboard. But speaking of Uncut Gems, Uncut Gems is actually in this movie.
That's right,
Uncut
Julia
Gems. Fox. Which, she looks very eccentric. It's funny because they have a couple of interesting looks for characters, and then they mention it, and I'm like, I kind of appreciate that. Like, I don't know. We'll bring it up in spoiler talk.
That is what's weird is that there's moments of this movie is very surreal. Like there's
surreal is a word I've been looking for. Oh my God, it's been in my brain. Yeah, surreal.
It has its own lived-in universe so that we just accept the rules and stuff. But at the same time, it breaks that wall sometimes, like you said, and they'll point out some really surreal or eccentric shit, and that you're like, if in real life, if I saw this, I would say, hey, what the fuck is up with this?
Right. So there's a lot of stuff like that. I mean,
it's a very dreamy movie, and it's so many dream sequences / hallucinations. You said earlier.
Hallucinations, dream sequences, surrealism. Mm-hmm. Like it's one of these movies where it's like what they do is like nothing that they do I think is inherently bad. Oh, there's one section that is inherently bad that I was like, and we'll get to that in spoiler talk. But like when we talk about like, okay, there's a lot of like dream sequence type elements in this movie, right? And the visuals of these remind me a lot of Infinity Pool, which we talked about on this podcast. Infinity Pool, one of our most popular episodes. Feel free to go listen to it. So we talked about Infinity Pool, and that movie has a lot of interesting visuals. And it's like that's another one where we said like substance over, there was style over substance to a certain degree. I think that's where we have our famous show the Come.
That's right. But shout out to our friend Jose over at Watch Skip Plus. That's the episode that made him a fan.
Yes. So yeah, there's a lot of similarities in the visuals for that, right? The visuals that they do are really good, but they do them too often, and then they do them for too long, and they do them out of context where it's like, well, normally you show this when you guys do this, but then now you're just showing it randomly. And, now these things that we're seeing are real, but then the things earlier weren't real. So it's like, what's real, what's not real? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you start to do that stuff, it's like, you just wanted to show something, And it's like, that's cool. I'm glad you guys wanted to like go out above and beyond and show a really cool visual. Let's add some context, right? Like when you watch Requiem for a Dream, you're not like, wait, what's all this snapping and showing of this weird bubbles like exactly what it is. It's them doing drugs.
Yeah, like it's used with a very specific purpose.
Yes, a very specific purpose. Now they do have a thing like that in this movie too, where they actually do it with context, and it looks really cool and it's really good.
Yeah,
but not everything is. Right. So it's like, you guys did really good on this. Let's hone it in. Let's really specify it. Let's pick and choose when we use it and when we don't use it for it to matter a lot.
Yeah.
To add to the story instead of take away from it. And then same thing with like a lot of the like sports teams and things like that. It's like you guys do a lot of these montages. And the montages look great. They look like a Gatorade commercial. And Gatorade commercials actually look really good. The cinematography in Gatorade commercials looks great.
Yeah.
The lighting is really good and the acting is really good and everyone looks sweaty and they look like they could use a drink.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
The color correction too, where like the blacks are like just so dark. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole vibe creates this feeling of
super high contrast,
isolation,
and low light, and yeah.
So they do, that's what really reminded me of that Gatorade thing. They do it a lot in this movie. It looks nice. Yeah.
It does look nice, and it's like, but when you do it, right after something scary happens, I'm like, did everyone just drop that? Mm-hmm. Or if you do it right before something scary happens, I'm like, why is no one still out of breath? Why is no one still sweating?
Yeah.
Why is no one sore? Why, like they were sore for 2 seconds. Now they're not sore. I'm like, that's not how recovery works, whatever. So when you see certain things like that, it's like, okay, well, do it with purpose. Put it in the right place at the right time. I'm not a fan of title cards. You guys know this. Title cards in this movie, didn't like them. Know, I think copyright music, again, the songs you chose were great. I thought those songs, I'm like, hey, I would listen to a playlist with these songs in it.
Oh yeah, same.
Like you could play a lot of the songs from this movie on the aux if someone passed it to you.
Yes, yeah.
Like that's how good they are.
A lot of good songs in this movie.
But they just come in randomly and then they leave. Mm-hmm. Very much like Bodies, Bodies. Instead of being used with purpose and intent and in a specific moment, where it would add to this moment in this movie, and add to the vibe. Yeah. Instead, it's just random. Oh, it's to introduce a title card.
Like, I'm about to say it was used mostly for like transitions and title cards and like day 4.
Yeah. I'm like the same way that they play like the Seinfeld music or like when you're watching Drake and Josh and you just hear like, I
never thought it would be so simple.
And when you are fucking watching Zoe 101, they go, ooh, and then they cut to the next scene. Like,
I know you see me standing here. All right, we're going to play a game like this one day. You just start a song and I have to finish it.
Honestly, I would love to play a game with you where I play 2000s television theme songs. You have to tell me what show it is.
What show? That'd be fun.
And it just gets harder with every.
Right.
I'm gonna prepare that for next week.
Bet that would be so fun. But yeah.
Anyways, point is that again, it's an element that they do well, but let's hone it in. When do we use it? When do we not use it? The horror elements are the same way. The story arc is the same way. The emotional connection you have with the character is there and gone like that. You know, it's just like build on that, keep doing that, keep working on his internal monologue. And then it's like you go into his internal monologue, you think about what's going on in his head and his progression and his arc, but then you cut away from all of that to then do some weird horror stuff and like be more abstract and be more surreal. And it's like, well, I was just starting to connect, man. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just like there's so much potential here, but I can't enjoy the movie because I'm getting whiplash. Speaking of whiplash. Spoiler alert. I will be talking about whiplash during this episode.
Yeah. And I think too, we should mention as well that there's 2 comedians in this movie. I guess 3 if you count Marlon Wayans. So you
And
have,
I do, but he was also in Requiem for a Dream.
yeah, but he is mostly known for comedy. That is his whole MO. Him and his brother had a comedy
What has
show.
he done comedy-wise?
He's done Scary Movie.
Well, yeah, this is a scary movie.
He's done Little Man. Don't forget about Little Man, people. So
The movie's fucked up.
so he is. So you have that comedic guy. You have Tim Heidecker in this, which you know it's Jordan Peele produced because Tim Heidecker's in it. And then you have Jim Jeffries is in this.
Yeah.
And
And normally when I watch Jim Jeffries stand-up, I do put subtitles on. There is no subtitles in this movie, just forewarning.
so there's just a weird, it adds to me, it just kind of adds to this weird surrealism and uncomfortable feeling in the movie. So, and sometimes it works well, sometimes it's to its own detriment, but it definitely does create that weird, uncomfortable, surreal vibe that the whole movie has.
Yeah, and then when we get to start talking about the football elements of it, it's like there are times in the movie where I'm like, okay, this writer, this director, he knows ball. He really enjoys sports and he really watches, and he was inspired by that, And then there are other times where I'm like, has this guy ever fucking watched anything sports related?
Mm-hmm.
There were just a lot of moments where I was just like, dude, I've been watching sports and been following the NFL for a long time. We've been watching sports our whole lives. I've never seen this shit in my fucking life. I never heard of this, these scenarios, this, behavior, anything like this. So where the fuck are you getting this from? And it's so there are times where I'm like, I wish you just pretended this was an entirely fantasy universe where we don't know what the NFL is. That doesn't exist, And this isn't even a spoiler. So I'm going to say this in the non-spoiler section. They mention in the opening scene that the character who's playing the mentor in this one is someone who has won 8 championships. And we're like, you chose 8 because Tom Brady has 7. Mm-hmm. Just don't even mention that. Don't even mention how many championships he's had. Just say he's the GOAT. He's the best of all time. You don't have to tell us how many championships he has.
Yeah.
Because if you said 5, we would have been, well, Tom Brady has 7.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you chose 8, specifically 8.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not 10?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's the movie is all over the place, but it has a lot more to appreciate than people are giving it credit for. And I do think that it suffers because they were expecting this to be a Jordan Peele film. And I remember when this was first happening, I was like, oh man, there's gonna be so many dumbass people who don't know what producing means. And then it got to a point where I was like, I actually can't blame anyone anymore because now they're not being told that he's producing it. They're being told it's his movie. So people are just being lied to. So people that are on Twitter going, dude, Jordan Peele's washed or whatever. I can't even say, dude, you dumbass. He didn't fucking make the movie. He produced it. I can't even say that anymore. They were literally lied to. These people were lied to and told that this was his movie. So I feel bad for Justin Tipping because Justin Tipping did not get a fair shot at his own project being realized and experienced as his own project.
Which is exactly what happened with Companion, too.
Yeah. So
Companion was not a terrible movie.
Yeah, not at all.
But again,
that was a fun movie.
You would have had more respect for it and more understanding of some of the flaws in it if you're thinking of it as, someone who's getting an opportunity to make a movie on this scale for the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, we got to get into some spoiler talk because there's a lot of other theories and more things that I want to mention. Again, not from just a pure negativity, but you were almost there perspective.
Yeah.
But I have to talk about it in spoiler talk. All right, here we go.
Blue 42.
Omaha. Hey, get 52, get 52. All right, it's a run play. Oh, shit. Spoiler alert. Let's get to
the
rundown.
The run, which also sounds like, dude, this is all lining up. The rundown kind of sounds like a sports thing. All right, we're getting into the rundown.
We're getting into the rundown. Now, if you check out this play here, one of the things that I love about his footwork.
It's not all about the X's and O's, people, but right now, it is.
You gotta love the footwork on this one. I mean, look at this. This is phenomenal. And then we cut to, and it's foot porn.
Let's do your best Chris Collinsworth.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes is just... He has the biggest cock in the league. I mean, I would suck on that thing for a fucking week if he could just tell me what he thinks about. I voted for Trump twice when I found out that Patrick Mahomes was a Trumper. You just can't get any better than that guy,
Pretty good, actually. Pretty good, Collinsworth. Let's get into the rundown. Let's tell
now, give me your best Tony Romo.
Jim, here we go. I don't know.
I don't know about this one, Jim. I don't know about this play, Jim. I'd check out of this if it were me.
Here we go. He's look, and you can see the corner lining up there. I mean,
that's pretty good.
But anyways, yes, we're football fans.
We're football fans.
Dave more so than me. I don't want to sit here and be a fake fan, but at the same time, I'm getting more into it every year.
That's true.
So I'm really back on my football shit.
We have talked about doing a podcast where I talk about the Cowboys and he talks about the Mavericks every week. So we would do like a Dallas-based football, basketball, but it would be really difficult to do because the Mavs play for way longer than the Cowboys
Exactly.
do. The Cowboys season ends usually in December when they lose in the first round of the playoffs or don't make it at all. And then the Mavericks end up going to the finals, and then 10 years later we do it again, and then 10 years later we do it.
It would also be really hard to find an audience for that because so far our audience is compiled of people who love film and video games. And let me tell you something.
The Venn diagram.
We are a rare breed.
The Venn diagram of film, video game nerds and sports nerds is nearly 2 circles.
Yes. So, but yeah, if you guys want that, hit us up. Let's go ahead and get into the rundown. Tell them what is going on in this movie, Dave.
All right. So this movie is about franchise MC. Hey, MC.
I think his name was Cam Cade.
Cam Cade. Fake name.
It was such a football name. That's why I remember it as like Cam
It's
Cade.
interesting that they called him Cam Cade and Cam Ward are like so similar, and that was the actual number 1 overall pick this year.
Yeah.
Who was also a black quarterback. But yeah, anyways, Cam Cade is a kid who grew up loving football, and he didn't just love football. He loved the Saviors, specifically the team Saviors.
The San Antonio Saviors.
The San Antonio Saviors, as if San Antonio would ever deserve a fucking football team. Ew.
Ew.
And we have family that lives there, so we can say that.
We can.
He is obsessed. He is the biggest fan of Isaiah White, who is the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's GOAT status. He's goated. They want to be GOAT. I am GOAT. I want GOAT to be. I'm GOAT.
GOAT. I think that this was
They
a pretty
used GOAT way too much in this movie.
It was
very inappropriately.
It was a very on the nose reference to Satan. It was the GOAT, the GOAT, the GOAT. I was like, I get it. Satan. There's a lot of Satan symbolism in here. There's a lot of mention of that, of religion and Satanism and Christianity.
Worshiping and sacrifices. And
blah, blah.
What are you willing to sacrifice? Everything. You know, whatever.
There's a very specific shot with Cam looking to the left, and then there's horns above his head. And I'm like, aha, Satan. Like, it's very on the nose. The whole GOAT thing was, you're right. They say it so much in the movie. I'm like, I get it. GOAT.
They might as well
Satan.
look right at the camera and go, GOAT means Satan.
yeah. It was driving me nuts. Anyways. Sorry. I digress. You know what? We've been gressing. Let me digress.
We've been gressing. We need to bring that bit back.
I've been gressing.
I've been gressing for too long. Let's digress. So, he wants to be the new GOAT. Okay, he wants to be Isaiah White, and he's had a pretty good college career. It's looking like he's going to get drafted, but right before he gets drafted, he gets assaulted. Now, this is like a very surreal thing where the person we see assault him is in a full Savior's outfit uniform that hits him in the head. And at first, you're probably like, wait, was that person actually there? Was that was this an accident? It gets revealed later that, it definitely was an actual person working for that team. After he gets hit in the head, he is told, like, hey, you can't have any more hits to the head. And because he can't have any more hits to the head, he decides to not participate in the combine. Now, I will say, there is a lot of the combine that does not relate to being hit at all.
I was thinking that the whole time.
And I don't know why he decided, they do this whole press conference, which, again, I didn't agree with the scene because I was like, I have never, ever seen an agent take a full press conference on behalf of their athlete, ever. Ever. I'm like, even Deion Sanders famously went to the combine, ran the fastest 40-yard time in NFL history, and then walked out of the building. Didn't do anything else for the combine. He just walked in, did that, and then and he's like, you've seen everything you need to see. Draft me, So it's like, we have never seen, like, we've seen a lot of, kids where their dad says a lot of shit on their behalf or a family member or something like that. But for their agent, they're like, their talent agent to be the person doing the interview. I was just like, this doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever. Tim Heidecker plays the agent, and he explains, he's like, yeah, he doesn't need to run for you guys to know he's fast, like that kind of thing. I'm like, but why can't he do that? Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's not like, oh, if you start, you can't stop. Like, we literally, like the story I just told, like Deion Sanders just did the one thing and then left. You know, it's
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
can do some of it, you know? Like, and I even think that there have been quarterbacks in the past who only do part of it, you know, whatever. And after like Patrick Mahomes and his 40-yard, and that gets made fun of all the time, you know, a lot of quarterbacks don't run the 40 anymore because of that. You know, they're like, well, what does it matter? I'm a quarterback, you know, whatever. So he still could have ran. He still could have jumped. He still could have whatever. He doesn't do any of that. He skips the combine. And because he skips the combine, it's unlikely he's going to get drafted. But he could still get an undrafted rookie contract under the Saviors if he goes to train with his hero, Isaiah White, the GOAT, who is retiring soon, and trains in his facility for a week, is what they say. Now, what happens in this facility is a bunch of weird shit.
Yeah.
And again, this is the rundown, so we're just going to, run through this. A bunch of weird, crazy stuff starts to happen where he realizes that this guy's kind of crazy, right? He's like mutilating people if he doesn't do well in a drill. And he's pushing him so far in his recovery that Jim Jeffries, who is the athletic trainer, is injecting him with Isaiah's blood in order for him to recover faster. And somehow that helps him recover. And he is being tempted and tested and all these different things. And it becomes more weird and surreal. And, his fan base is like breaking into the facility and trying to kill him because they don't ever want Isaiah to retire, right? And then he has to meet with the owners, and what they're telling him is like, hey, the owners are kind of weird, but just go with it. And what is revealed is that all of the quarterbacks who have ever played for this team, going all the way back to the very first one, they have had like some kind of magical blood inside of them that makes them a fantastic athlete. And so in order for him to actually get that spot starting as their quarterback, he has to kill Isaiah, and then he has to sign a contract and agree to have that blood like put inside of him forever, and so that he could be, the savior or whatever, the savior of the saviors, the new quarterback for them. It all culminates into this scene where he has to fight Isaiah White, who's played by Marlon Wayans. He wins the fight. He goes out onto the field, and all the owners are there, and they're in like these weird ritualistic satanic things. And Isaiah's wife is there, who's played by Julia Fox. Dan, should I even mention that I saw Julia Fox in this movie? I did not recognize her. And then later in the movie, I turned to you and I said, is that Julia Fox? And you said, yeah. I said, I didn't recognize her until I saw her ass. She doesn't look hot in this movie.
She doesn't. She looks like a freak.
She looks like the witch from Weapons.
She does kind of.
They make her look like the witch from Weapons, and it's like she does have DSLs, but then they do like even more lipstick that make her lips look like massive.
Yeah.
And then they give her blonde eyebrows, and she looks scary. She looks like a clown. And then like at this culmination scene where she's sitting there and he's like, fuck you and your eyebrows.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, someone acknowledged it. You know?
Someone
so like the two things we were talking about earlier where we said someone acknowledges this. This main character looks like the most quintessential, like a pre-made face from a sports video game. Like he looks like you could make this person in Madden or in 2K with the preset faces, not your actual face scanner by manipulating it all. And then someone calls him my player looking ass.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Yes, he looks like a my player. Like he looks, and if you don't play sports video games, you might not get this. Okay. But please trust us that it is shockingly how much this guy looks like a pre-made face on a video game.
Maybe the most deserved Monopoly Man joke, but
it's like it's not even a Monopoly Man because he's not commenting on something that they intentionally
dressed him up as. Yeah.
Now the eyebrows thing is that way.
Yeah.
The eyebrows is a Monopoly Man joke. So,
but
it's not a good joke, but it is a good mention. And in the finale, the main character kills her and everyone else.
Actually, he doesn't kill her.
Oh, he doesn't kill her.
She kills herself.
Trips over. She's holding a knife. She trips over her long ass dress and stabs herself in the throat.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
Now this sequence is pretty good. I actually liked this sequence as a gory, slasher thing.
Yeah, just story wise, which at this point you're like, what is this about? What is the metaphor here? You're kind of it loses itself a little bit in terms of
it does this a lot
story, but. With what you do have, with what you can take from the movie, this was a very satisfying ending, in my opinion.
Right.
I thought it was so satisfying. Just seeing him kill a bunch of fucking rich asshole white people who were trying to profit off of his suffering and fucking his mental, and I loved it. It was it was a really satisfying ending.
Yes. But yeah, he kills all of them, then he walks away. That's the end of the movie.
That's it.
Here is the main thing that I wanted to talk about with this movie, because this movie follows a very similar plot structure, plot theme and idea or concept that's heavily present in the movies Black Swan and Whiplash. Okay, so if you've ever seen Black Swan and Whiplash, they are two movies that really go hand in hand with each other. They're not made by the same people or anything like that, but what they are both is a movie about someone who is an artist, and they are really, really desperate to be the absolute best at what they do. And so they push themselves and keep pushing themselves, and they are tormented by a mentor who continues to push them and make them think that they're not good enough. They have a replacement that is potentially going to take their spot and is going to, not let them be the best and be in the performance that they want to be in. And they keep pushing themselves and literally mutilating themselves at certain points and actually hurting themselves and pushing their bodies beyond its limits in order to be the best at this thing. And then for it to all culminate into, at a final scene where they perform at the highest of the capabilities of themselves, because they push themselves so hard. So these are movies about people who sacrifice everything and they fully sacrifice themselves to be something that they want to be. And in Black Swan, it's like a little bit more surreal as well, because she literally starts to see herself become the Black Swan and have these hallucinations and things like that. So, it's really intense, and in Whiplash, of course, that movie, he doesn't do the final performance until after, so it's like they have this, weird third act fall where after the climax of the movie, which is really him trying to perform with the broken hand or whatever, he ends up leaving and then he has to come back to do that final performance. This movie follows a very similar plot structure or a very similar theme, right? It is about a person who wants to be the absolute best at what he does. He wants to be the GOAT. The GOAT. I'm GOAT.
The GOAT.
I'm the GOAT. I want to be GOAT. I want to be the GOAT. Also, it's like you ask an athlete, like, hey, do you want to be the best of all time? And they're supposed to be like, no.
That was another thing that I appreciated about the character developing of Cam Cade was he actually felt like an athlete personality wise. Like they were like, hey, what's going on? And are you excited? And he's like, yeah, I just want to work hard, just go out there, do my thing. Like, a lot of athletes are some of the most boring people you've ever met. And like, he felt like a real athlete in his personality in addition to his actual physical. Like, I thought it was great. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that is, to me, what is the most interesting part of this movie. It is, if you take Cam Cade and you take this character and you hone in on that aspect of the movie, he wants to be the best ever. So when he starts getting pushed by Isaiah White, there are only a few moments where he turns into something that he's not. Right. And there's one specific scene that's like really good. And I loved this scene. There was the scene, and you see it in the trailer. It's where he grabs his face mask and he's like, what are you willing to sacrifice? This is not a game. This is everything. And I didn't like that performance. Or I didn't like it in the trailer either. I don't know. Just something about it was like off-putting to me. I like the idea of it, I guess, but I don't think it was executed very well. And of course, they do the Gatorade commercial shit where it's like POV.
Yeah.
But in this scene, obviously, he's not supposed to be taking any head-on collisions, and he's doing this drill where essentially all he's doing is holding the ball. He's having people free rush at him, and he has to dodge them. And he ends up getting blown up, and then he ends up, when he gets like yelled at and gets in his face and tells him whatever, he locks the fuck in, and then he trucks the fuck out of a guy, right? Straight head-to-head collision. You can see the scene in the trailer.
X-ray.
They go into X-ray. Negative mode.
Yeah, negative. Yeah.
And in this mode, they stay in this. I actually really like the way they do this. They stay in this negative space.
As he's screaming.
He's like, yo, dead body alert. Like, he's saying, dead body alert, come get your dead homie. Like, he's saying some fucked up shit while you can look down and you see this guy's like spitting blood out of his mouth, whatever. And it's almost like his psyche is broken, and it's like, I think the visuals actually represent a tonal switch in this character, but then they immediately go away from it. And I was just like, man, if you like keep pushing, like that's what you love about Black Swan and Whiplash is when these two people, at the beginning of the movie, of Whiplash, he's just a nice guy who wants to, he just wants to be great and he really cares about what he does, and then like by the end of it, he's like, I can't date you because you're going to get in the way of my dreams. And calling people like, if you put that fucking loser on there, then, and he's like talking shit about other people. It's like, you weren't like this at the beginning of this movie, and like same thing with Black Swan too, she like, it just, the way that they push themselves and they go too far. I love that. because that's what the arc is. And in this movie, he goes up and then down. He goes up and then down. Up and down. He pushes himself and he does what Isaiah wants him to do. And I understand that, like, they wanted to end this movie where he doesn't take the contract, right? So if you were to do the actual Whiplash or the actual Black Swan thing, then what happens is he kills Isaiah White and then signs the contract because he finally gets what he wanted. Mm-hmm. But in this movie, the whole point is that he doesn't become what he wanted. He realizes that this is wrong, whatever. Of course, he's like, this is wrong. You guys are fucked up. That's why I'm going to cut all your fucking heads off. Anyways. But yeah, so it's like, it's that element of it that makes me say this movie has so much potential. And I personally connected with that the most. I am also somebody who suffers from imposter syndrome, but then also has high aspirations and has high standards of myself and pushes myself, a little too hard sometimes too. And so I can understand, I love that type of plot structure, and I think that it can be done really well. And that was something that I wish they honed in more on and did more of, but they don't really. And so it suffers for that.
That's why I feel so disjointed. The scene that you just mentioned is the one that I mentioned in spoiler-free talk, saying I loved the scene. I thought it was the part I connected to the most emotionally, because after he clashes heads with that guy, and it goes back away from the negative mode, and you see the guy on the ground. The guy is on the ground spasming with his arms out.
Yeah, he's seizing. He looks like someone is struggling with cerebral palsy. Right.
And so it's like,
which we've seen in the actual NFL.
Yes.
With really bad concussions.
That is horror. That is horror. That is horrific. It is this caveman, like, what the fuck are we doing? This is so fucked up. Like, it gives you perspective on what the highest level of sports is and what the risk is, right? So seeing that moment, and as he is seizing on the ground, he's being surrounded by all the other players cheering, like rooting it on. And I was like, this is great. This is Semina.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, I wish the movie tapped in on this. Maybe like if the movie was about, remember when we first saw the trailers and you said, wait, CTE as a horror villain? That's fucking genius. And I went, I don't know, though. It looks like they're more doing like an Illuminati thing. Well, it turns out it was both.
It was kind of both.
You know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, I think that was a good like CTE as a horror element was a really good concept.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, when people have CTE, they can't really think clearly anymore. And it makes it really difficult for them to make good decisions. And so it's like, yeah, someone becoming a scarier, darker version of themselves that they never thought they would because they're experiencing too much head trauma. Mm-hmm. That was so good to me. I was like, imagine you add this like whiplash thing and you make him like, oh, he turns into someone he's not because he's getting too much head trauma.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah, if they would have focused on that, like, and so because you have this whole extra layer of this too, whereas they're cheering while this man is seizing on the ground, you have that, what we just mentioned, but it also, you can kind of read into some of this hyper masculinity and like, what does it mean to be a man and why, like, there's so much to this.
What are we celebrating?
But then it's but then it goes into a different thing and it's Satanism and it's religion. And then it goes into a different thing and it's celebrity and elitism. And then it goes into a different thing. And I'm like, dude, if you would have focused on one thing, man.
And then it's a joke. It's all comedy. Oh, Jim Jeffries is funny.
So
I totally agree, and I do think that scene, it was my, spoiler alert for later, is my favorite scene in the movie because you start to see this switch for Kincaid, and I wish it had continued on from there, but also you see this switch in Isaiah too, where it's like, all he wants is to impress him, right? And the thing that I think is interesting about this movie as compared to Whiplash and Black Swan is that in Whiplash and Black Swan, they both have a mentor character who pushes them too far and a potential replacement character that pushes them too far, for the threat of being replaced. In this movie, that character is the same person. So in this one, the whole concept is Isaiah White, the GOAT, going to sign another 1 year, 2 year contract extension and be the starting quarterback for this team? Or are they going to sign you and replace you with him? Mm-hmm. Replace him with you. So that's what is happening, right? So if he does not succeed here, then he doesn't get the contract, or maybe he does get the contract, but he doesn't start. and Isaiah White starts, and he doesn't get to be the quarterback of this team. So the same person who is pushing him to be more successful is also his potential replacement. So it adds a layer of like confliction, internal conflict with this character. It's like, I want to impress you, but I also want to beat you. And that's, you know, if I beat you, you're going to be mad at me. But if I don't beat you, you're going to be mad at me. So it's like, it's a lot of pressure for this character. And I really actually enjoyed that aspect of the movie. Like, that is such a conflicting thing. Like, I have to impress you, but I also have to be better than you. And in order to be better than you, I have to believe I'm better than you. And that is something that I think the character deals with, this imposter syndrome. Like, hey, I didn't even go to college. I went into the military right out of high school. But then my dad told me I was a disappointment. Like this, they explain this in the movie. He has this whole monologue about it. That was actually really good. I thought he nailed this monologue. It's a little weird and out of context.
Was this during the interview?
Yeah, kind of the like Sunday interview. What do you mean?
I guess there was 2 interviews. One was in his childhood home.
Yeah.
And then the other one is when he was in Isaiah's home and there's a bunch of cameras and stuff. Which one was this one from?
So the one where he's talking about his dad telling him that he was disappointed is later in the movie when he's doing a photo shoot.
Yeah. And
with Isaiah White.
Yeah.
And when they explain that he went into the military right out of high school and then he actually went and was a walk-on for a college, they explained earlier in the movie in the home interview.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So because he doesn't go play college football, his dad is like, you've let me down. Like, I'm disappointed in you and I can't believe you let me down. So then his dad dies. He leaves the military, becomes a walk-on out of college, which is also, it's like, you understand why, hey, if he doesn't go to the combine, he's not going to be the number 1 overall pick. Like, there are a lot of players that they need that combine. They have to perform there, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there are some players that we've seen in the past where it didn't matter if they went to the combine or not. Like, you know, you go watch Peyton Manning. It's like, dude, it didn't matter what he did at the combine. He was going to be the number 1, you know, anyways. But it's like, at the same time, you know, you have like this new person where it's like, okay, I let my dad down. I don't want to let you down. You know, so there is that part of that conflict where he's like, I don't want to let my dad down. I don't want to let the memory of my dad down, but also this person who I've looked up to my entire life, I have a new chance here to prove to you that I'm good enough.
Yeah.
You know? And so he really wants to impress him. And again, they don't ramp everything up sequentially. They go up and down.
Yeah,
and in this scene, at the end of the scene, exactly what you're talking about, toxic masculinity. What are we, you know, and when I said, what are we celebrating here? You know, he does this. The guy is seizing on the ground. He's spitting blood out of his mouth. Everyone comes around and starts cheering. And Isaiah hugs Cam Cade and says, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
If they then went in the direction of he gets more and more into this, like he gets indoctrinated into this mindset.
Yeah.
It would have been a better movie.
I think so too.
And I understand that you don't want, like a person who wrote this, like, no, I don't want Cam Cade to fall into their trap. But it's like, but they're so good at this. Like, it wouldn't have blown my mind if he did fall into it and does sign the contract at the end. If the conflict at the end of the movie isn't, I'm trying to run away and whatever, and the conflict is, I look up to you so much, I don't want to kill you. And he's like, but you have to. And he's literally like, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. That's a line from Never Back Down, by the way. And so if he makes that tonal switch where he's like, oh, I don't want to kill you because I lost my father. I don't want to lose you too. Like, you're my mentor. You're someone I care about now. And he's like, but I literally have to kill you in order to not let you down. Like, that type of conflict I thought would have been better. But you don't want your main character to be a villain. So you end the movie where he kills all the bad guys and he's the hero. It's like, okay, and then what? He goes out and says, yeah, they were doing satanic shit. And they're like, what? No one's ever heard of that. It's like, but you're going to sit there and tell me at the end of the movie, hey, for 100 years, we've been doing this. Since the beginning of this league, we've been doing this. And you're the first person to ever be like, nah, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. It would have been okay with me if I was like, well, he has CTE. He has horrible head trauma now. You guys literally hit him in the head. You guys were the ones who hired someone to go assault him while he was on the field so that you could indoctrinate him into this thing. And then he becomes that.
I mean, you're injecting him with blood.
You're literally injecting him with the blood of the first person who ever.
All of this would totally, you're right. It would all add up to him just succumbing to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, yes, it is a bad arc where someone starts out as just genuine. And it's very Black Swan, more Black Swan than, Whiplash, because she kills her replacement and, you know, whatever. sorry, spoiler alert for Black Swan.
2010.
I know, but I always say I haven't had time to watch every movie.
I feel you. Yeah.
Black Swan, phenomenal movie. Go see it. But it's like, so it's a little bit more Black Swan than Whiplash because he doesn't fucking hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But it would have been okay if he becomes a bad person. It would have been a sad ending. It would have been like, man, you really became what you were so afraid of, and you have still let your father down because, what did you give up? But it would have made sense because your father always said, you have to sacrifice everything to be great. Mm-hmm. Everything, including who you are, including your family, including all of these things. You have to sacrifice all of that to be great. You've had it thrown into your head since you were a child.
No guts, no glory.
No guts, no glory. It's like, oh, you want to be the GOAT. You want to be the GOAT. You want to be the GOAT. It's like, let him have a character arc where he becomes bad.
Yeah.
That's okay. I love the ending sequence where he kills all the people. It's a cool, interesting visually.
With what you're given, it's a satisfying ending.
It's satisfying.
Yeah.
But that's just my perspective on it. I thought it would have been better if they went that route instead of... Because again, when I say I get whiplash, I'm like, well, yeah, now he's finally connecting. Now he's actually buying into their mentality and these freaks who are mutilating each other if they don't perform well and beating each other up and sacrificing and worshiping this team and this game. Now he's starting to get it. Now he's starting to turn. But then he does all this and then he goes, man, I feel bad about hurting that guy.
Yeah.
He literally tells Isaiah, he goes, hey, is what's-his-face going to be all right? And then Isaiah says, well, if you're referring to him as what's-his-face, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then he gets put in a chamber that increases the pressure of the air, and then he goes crazy and like gets blood from his stitches and writes on the wall. And I'm like, what is this?
I don't know. There's a lot of moments like that.
When he goes into the ice bath and then he goes under the water and then they show all these weird visuals and like, I'm like, why is he doing that? Like every time he gets injected with the blood, they cut to like a showing of like his muscles and being like covered in blood, which we know like white blood cells and like, whatever is really good for recovery, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, yeah, it's like, and it's like you can see muscles and they get encased in blood and then they like look healthier and stronger, immediately. So, from that perspective, it's like, I like that because every time you show that interesting, cool visual, it's when you get injected with this blood. That's cool. Mm. Why in the ice bath does it look like Infinity Pool?
Yeah, or the deprivation tank. Yeah, that was the most Infinity Pool moment to me. I was like, dude, this is so Brandon Cronenberg. Like, I can't even say, because he does it in Possessor as well. But it's like, yeah, it's just, I got very, like, this is like very, very Brandon Cronenberg. And it does look cool. It does look cool. But I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, should there be more purpose to it? It's funny, but at that point, the deprivation tank specifically, at that point in the movie, I was like, sure, this looks fucking cool. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, this movie is already like established that it's not going to hone in on anything. It's not as focused as I would like it to be. So sure, this looks cool.
Yeah. I
throw some more crazy shit at the wall.
I don't think that it takes away from the movie, but I also don't think it adds. That's the only thing.
For sure.
It's just a really cool visual.
Yeah.
And the visual is great.
Yeah.
I love it.
It looks sick.
I think that I've watched a lot of movies that were not very structured very well, and they didn't have visuals like that. So they were a lot more boring.
Yeah.
So at least this is interesting.
It's something, yeah.
So there's something to connect to. I think even in, I saw the TV Glow, we talked about that. Like there were times where we didn't connect with the movie, but the visuals were good. So we were like, hey, that's cool. At least there's something that you were trying. Mm-hmm. And I respect that. And from an up and coming director, I can respect that. Hey, you were going for something. Didn't add anything, didn't take anything away. Cool visuals. Next time, let's add some context to this and make this important. Like in Infinity Pool, when they do it, it actually is important and you understand why the visuals are so weird and crazy. But what you did here was good.
Yeah.
Just add a little bit more to this, And so the other aspect is like, here's the other way you could have gone. If you make this very similar to like something like Get Out, where this person goes to this facility and he realizes these people are fucking crazy and he never buys into their shit. You can tell that he's playing along, to not get caught out. But if like him and Jim Jeffries were like, really planning an escape or something like that, and he's like never buying into anything and he's constantly trying to find ways to get out and he's constantly trying to, find phones and trying to escape. and he literally can't, and he realizes he's in a really bad position, a really bad place, that also would have been a better movie.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, there was something that was just not quite connected in the movie, and I can see where it's hard to not want to do that. To hey, let me fix it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me help you out because
But that's constructive criticism.
it is constructive, exactly, and we do that all the time. It's like we try to make sure that we're not just going to complain; we're going to offer solutions as well, or ideas. I don't want to. Pretty elitist to say solutions, but you know what I'm saying? We offer ideas. Here's how I would have done it. Here's what I would have liked better.
And we are available for consultation.
That's
and you know
right.
that we are in Jordan Peele's budget, so we are well within Jordan Peele's budget.
By the way, I just want to say, before I forget, before we finish here,
Before I forget that, was a man before I could a man. I was a bald man.
Monkey
now I
man.
am.
Candy Man.
I won't forget that.
my least favorite performance in the movie was Tim Heidecker. And I hate to say it, but he was. I thought I did not agree with
Worse
his
performance
casting.
or worse writing for a character?
Both. I also did not like him in Us either. So he does not work.
As a rich elitist prick?
He doesn't work in a movie that's too serious. He just doesn't. Like, I'm sorry, he doesn't. I don't like Tim Heidecker performing in stuff that he did not have creative control in. I don't like it. I really can't think of anything that I really liked him in that he himself did not have influence in writing and creating.
Well, I think you should leave.
I think that he's all right in that.
Let me tell you something about Gaspasso. Let me tell you something about
you know what? He was
when you
all
think
right.
something
I
is going to
liked-
be cold and it's room temp, it's going to feel like it's hot. It's going to feel like your mouth is burning.
I liked him in that one. I think almost anyone else could have played the doctor in the other season, where he's like, "Oh, you're going to club whatever." I like club over whatever better. I don't remember that whole bit, but yeah, it's just
He's tracking his heart rate,
and even that again, that's comedy. So it's like the stuff that's really really serious, and like I did not like him in this movie. You have a sports agent, Tim Heidecker, as a sports agent? Right. That just is not right casting to me. I mean, I'm happy to see him in more stuff. I fucking love Tim Heidecker. I pay Tim Heidecker $5 a month. That is a true thing. I am a huge On Cinema fan. Adult Swim cut all funding for that show, and they had to rely on viewer and fan subscriptions.
You love that show that makes fun of us and what we are currently doing.
Yes.
Cool.
I'm a huge Tim Heidecker fan. He was my least favorite performance in the movie. I did not like his performance. But speaking of, like, how do we feel about, and I actually was really impressed with some of Jim Jeffries. Sometimes he's trying to crack a joke and it's always awkward and never hits, but like his look and his feel as the trainer, there were some times where he was literally just in the background and not even the focal point of the scene. It really worked for me. He looked like
I actually loved his performance. I loved his performance as
he looked like
the one person who knows what's going on and is not okay with anything. And he is the one who is pretending to be cool, calm, and collected.
Yes. It feels like he is like in chains.
Yes.
His character is so trapped in this world.
Trapped, so controlled. And the way that he waits for everything. And it's funny because I really think he only has one line that is comedic. And it actually was a funny line. Is he's like asking him to strip so they can get all his measurements and everything. And he's like, what? You don't want to strip? You got a baby dick? And then he turns to Jim Jeffries, him being, Marlon Wayans. Yeah. And he's like, he's got a baby dick. You got anything for a baby dick? And then Jim Jeffries goes, nope, couldn't fix mine.
Yeah.
And it was funny.
It was funny.
And that was like, I was like, hey, this is locker room shit. This is what a person, a trainer might say some shit like that. Like they can quip too.
Yeah.
But it's like, I thought that he came off like a trainer. Like I thought that the terminology he uses, I'm like, yeah, I have heard NFL trainers and I watch a lot of fantasy football content and I watch fantasy football content made by medicine, like sports medicine doctors to tell me how bad injuries are or whatever else. So like the terminology that he uses and stuff, it felt very real. And even like some of the stuff that they do, it's like, it kind of felt like they were poking fun at like the TB12 method stuff. Yeah. Where like, when Tom Brady was in the league, For those who don't know, Tom Brady, he's a football player. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone knows Tom Brady. But when he was in the league,
He's a guy who kisses his son on the lips. We all know.
he's this guy who kisses his son on the lips, and everyone flamed him for getting divorced to a Victoria's Secret supermodel, only for him to then go date Sofia Vergara. As if we thought Tom Brady was going to have a hard time in the dating scene. Fucking. There were so many people who were like, bro, she's a baddie. I can't believe you lost her. I'm like, Tom fucking Brady's single. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, like when he was in the league, he would do all of these things that at that time were considered very controversial, and like they were not accepted medicines, you know, things about like plyometrics and, you know, things about being, you know, limp and being, you know, all these different things, right? It was very like, so a lot of people didn't believe in it. They were like, this is bullshit voodoo magic, you know, shit, hippy dippy, whatever. Yeah. It's not real medicine. It's not real sports medicine. We don't believe in it. We don't bring that to this team and blah, blah. Like he had to pay for his own trainers. But then, you know, the longer that he was in the league, it was like, this guy's playing at an elite level, you know, in his late 30s. Oh my God, he's playing at an elite level at 40. Oh my God, he's winning a Super Bowl at 43 or whatever.
On an entirely different team.
On an entirely different team.
Yeah,
not a coach merchant, turns out, the whole time. In fact, it might have been the other way around.
Yep, turns out.
Controversial opinion. But the point is that because of that, like, you know, nowadays you see a lot of athletes do all kinds of things. People don't really care anymore. They're like, hey, man, as long as you play, who gives a shit? I mean, they were about to ban smelling salts, and George Kittle, a tight end for the San Francisco 49ers, was like, I'm literally going to retire if you ban smelling salts. So, like, they're just like, whatever you do to play, do it. You know, can't take steroids, wink, wink. But, you know, anything else, go for it. But in this movie, they kind of poke fun at it because they're like, you know, he's doing all these weird extra shit, you know, for recovery. I actually, you know, I liked that element of it, and I liked Jim Jeffries' role in creating that element of the movie. You know,
me too. I liked it. His character had like a darkness to him, and he played it so well. I was impressed by his performance.
Even up to his end, man, his demise was. I felt so bad for him because he's getting drunk because he knows he's like, oh, I'm getting fucking killed tonight, and maybe every trainer before him has been killed.
Right.
For all he knows, you know, maybe he was fifth in line for being the trainer on this team. And so he's just like hammered. He's the one who tells Cam K to run. And then, you know, they end up drugging him. And then when he wakes up, he's drugged, and then he finds Jim Jeffries' head, like his severed head. And then he passes out. And when he wakes up, he sees that he has left him a little vial of the blood that he can inject into himself to recover instantly that says run. So, like, not only is he a great character in terms of like how he performs his character and how well he, like, you know, is this like juxtaposition that adds this like element of exposition to a certain degree, right? Like the way that he tells him, like, we've been preparing you, and he doesn't tell him what for, and the way, you know, when he tells him to run, and he moves the plot forward a lot.
Yeah.
So the performance was really good, but also that character was really important. Now I will say, you know, talking about characters and performances, you know, Julia Fox was fine in her performance. I think the most important thing about her character, she's supposed to be seductive, which I'm like, wait, listen, if you're going to make a character with blonde eyebrows and they have to be seductive, they at least got to have an ass like that, right? But, you know, she's all right. I think the better female performance in this movie is the crazy lady.
The fan.
She shows up early in the movie. Essentially, they're saying, oh, he has fans that are like a cult. Oh, foreshadowing. That scene where they kill her is a weird scene. And it is one of my least favorite scenes, even though I thought she did well as this crazy lady. And the reason why I say it's one of my least favorite scenes is just because it's so weird and like out of context, you know, and like, I'm like, what does this add to the movie about?
Yeah, what are they trying to say with this?
What's the implication?
What's the implication here? I mean, it gets weirder. Like, yeah, she sneaks into the sauna that he's in. She tries to kill Cam. She keeps telling him that they don't want him. So clearly she's an absolute stan for Isaiah White. And Isaiah White finds him, kind of saves Cam in the situation by killing her. But before he kills her, he kisses her.
He like licks her tongue.
Yeah, like makes out with her essentially. and she's the most disgusting, vile-looking woman ever. So that was gross. But anyways, he kisses her and then throws her against the wall and kills her. And he's like, remember, like Isaiah White starts talking to Cam about in this moment, and it's just like, oh, those fans, everything. Like I was just like, what is this?
And then he says to him something that then Cam says in his interview later. I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah,
it was really weird. Like here's something that they said in this scene too, because this is before she comes out and tries to kill him. This is a sauna scene. Isaiah White says to Cam, and this is an exact quote. He goes, "If you were starving to death in a prison and they offered you food or freedom, do you really have a choice?" And you're like, what does he mean by that? And in what context is that at? That's what I thought when he said it. I was like, what do you mean by that? I don't understand what you meant by that in the context of this scene or in the context of y'all's relationship.
I mean, it makes sense.
Makes a little bit more sense after the fact.
It makes sense in terms of the story.
Yeah. The overall story once everything is revealed.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I was like, it sounds like a bar. It sounds like a bar. But I was like, is it? I can't tell if that's a bar or not. Chat, is that a bar? Tell us in our comments.
Is that a
you
bar?
can actually comment on Spotify. We allow comments on Spotify. So if you're here on Spotify, leave a comment. Is that a bar?
Yeah, I want to shout out too. Again, I know I already mentioned that I liked the performance of the main actor here. I loved his monologue in the interview later in Isaiah's house, where he starts crying and stuff. I thought he really is a good actor, and I hope to see him in other stuff.
Me too.
Even if it's not the main character, maybe it's a side character or whatever. I just think he's good.
He was good in Atlanta.
Yeah, he was good in Atlanta as well. So he's a good actor.
And he actually looks like he can throw a football. Like he looks like someone who played college football and knows the fundamentals. Now, of course, they didn't show his feet while he threw, so I think the footwork is not quite there yet. But the throwing motion was great. You know, I'm like, he looks like an athlete. And they even didn't do like, oh, he's a god tier athlete, because they have a scene where he passes out from cardio because he's pushing himself too hard. You know, so yeah, they did a really good job with the balance for that.
I like that line too, like in the scene that is our favorite. I like the scene where he's like, man, fuck you, give me this linebacker ass helmet for. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, because he really did. Because they show the POV and he can barely see out of it. And it's like quarterback visors have like nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and then linebackers have everything. Cause
like, that felt like a little one for the sports fans. You know? Like a little,
it's very true.
But yeah, that was funny.
But yeah, and it's like, hey, it makes the POV look cooler though.
It does.
Because of the face mask.
It actually does create tension and makes it scary. It's like, oh shit, this would be terrifying.
You can barely see. Yeah. It's like quarterbacks have to see their blind side. Anyways. I know that you like the performance of Marlon Wayans. I do think that he did a good job. He also looks fantastic, by the way.
Guys, he does not age.
I don't know how old he is, but he looks 10 years younger minimum. So he looks phenomenal. He actually looks like a player who would just now be retiring, like a 38, 39-year-old quarterback, like just now retiring. Like that's how young he looks. He looks phenomenal. He's in great shape. And the other thing that's nice is like, quarterbacks in the NFL, they don't have to be in great shape. Like they can be a little chunky. They can be a little chubby. You know, they don't have to be cut. You know, they have a lot more to worry about than, you know, having abs, you know, or whatever.
Quarterbacks are all over the place.
So a lot of quarterbacks, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a fucking fat pig right now. I mean, if Patrick Mahomes played for Nico Harrison, he would have been traded fucking 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
if Michael Jordan played for, dude, I don't even want to talk about it.
We're not even going to talk about fucking...
Cut this shit. We won't mention his fucking name.
Bleep that.
But if I did, it would go a little something like this. Fuck you, Nico Harrison.
I do think that there were times where I felt like Marlon Wayans is not very intimidating, where he needs to be intimidating. And for that, I think the movie suffered for that. I don't think it has anything to do with his performance or the casting necessarily. I just think that the tension in the scene... Like, he should be really scary. He doesn't feel very scary. And maybe that's just me. Like, I even told Dan, I think that, like, I can't remember his name, the guy from Moonlight who plays the adult version of the main character, I was like, he would have been great in this movie. But he also looks too young. You know, so it's like, okay, so the casting is really good because he looks like a 39-year-old
and
quarterback.
He is too much. He is actually too built like a running back more than a quarterback.
Yeah, he's too linebacker. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
imagine him trying to put his arms above his shoulders to throw a ball. There's no way.
Right.
He'd be throwing from the chest, bro. From the titty. Like, I can't put my arms up anymore. I'm too fucking big. Bro.
Yeah. So, but his just demeanor is more, subtle.
He's a physical threat.
He's a physical threat. Like he's a good henchman type guy. Whatever.
For sure.
So, I do think that this is still the right person to play this role. I think he looks the part. He sounds the part. He is performing really well. But I also just think I still see Marlon Wayans, and when he's supposed to be scary, I'm like, I'm not scared of Marlon Wayans. Like, what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, bro, this ain't White Chicks, all right? Get the fuck out of here. And he's a phenomenal actor. He was, like we said, he was in Rec Room for a Dream. That's one of our favorite movies, and he was fantastic in that.
Yeah.
So
we know he can do drama, but
he can do drama, but at the same time, is he an intimidating person? No. Like when they first introduce him, he's eccentric. He's like,
he is.
He's like, why they have quarterbacks? Because the Native Americans, they used to blah, 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 blah. And he's like giving off this weird speech, and he's got like this like aura farming type of scene. And it's like, now this is really good.
Yeah.
I was like, this is where Marlon Wayans actually really excels in this role, because he looks like someone like, I would want to stop and pay attention to him, even though what he's saying is stupid. And he clearly rehearsed this speech, it's like, yeah, like when you go and you talk to, if you were to go and meet Tom Brady for the first time, it's like you'd listen to everything he has to say. And so I love that scene. But then, like I said, later when he's like, mutilating someone, he's like, you need to get back to work. I'm like, all right, man, chill.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, this guy could kick the shit out of you. He's a lot bigger and stronger, but whatever, which he does. I mean, he almost loses that fight, but he does win the fight.
He does win the fight.
But yeah, like we said, a lot of good elements to this movie. Hone it in a little bit more. Let's focus on the story and arcs and character and development, and let's let go of the happy ending bullshit. Let's say, hey, no, we don't need a happy ending all the time. In fact, sometimes a bad ending makes a movie 10 times better, because we see ourselves in certain characters and we see flaws in characters, and that's okay. And your main character can be bad. I mean, look at Hereditary. The main character in that movie turns out really bad, by the end of it. So that's fine. Especially in horror. Horror is the perfect genre to have a bad end. Yeah. We don't have to have, back in the 80s, you had to have a final girl. Everyone's got to have a final girl. That is not the case anymore. Yeah. We're beyond that shit. So
evil endings, we could call it.
Evil endings. Yeah. Yes. Evil can win in horror.
Yes. For sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen any of the Michael Myers movies, but he's still alive at the end of all of them.
That guy's still trucking along.
That guy has not been stopped by a single one.
Oh, shit. Oh, Michael's still at it, huh? Yeah, he's still doing it.
Not nan one of y'all could
goddamn. He looks good for his age. What is he, 120?
Literally. Anyways, my favorite part of this movie, like I said, was the scene where he finally gets that second, the really intense head-on collision when they go negative, and he kind of drops his
good guy shit.
His good guy shit.
Morality.
And, he drops his morality, and he becomes an animal, But yeah, I think that just like, that could have been the movie, man. That could have been the movie. My least favorite part of this movie, I think it probably is that that chamber. I can't remember what they called it. The chamber that just increases the pressure, because there was just no context for this. It's just, they put him in this place and he just goes crazy, and they act like they left him in there for days, but it was only like a couple hours. And it's like, what was the point of this?
Yeah.
What is this effect? Why does he go crazy in there? Why does he start bleeding from his head? Like, why'd you do this? Like,
yeah,
this was a style over substance scene, 100%. Like, oh, you just wanted to do something that looked cool and interesting, and like he's going crazy, but then this doesn't come into play ever again. Yeah. So I don't know. That was my least favorite scene.
Yeah, my favorite is the same. It was the scene of him finally becoming a barbaric animal, which is, that taps into this whole idea of sports as a horror. I mean, that's what it is. So it's interesting, and they did it visually interesting. It worked. Everything worked in that scene. It worked in that moment. And so we got to see what this movie would look like if it weren't for my least favorite part of the movie, which is the lack of focus. Like just focusing and actually honing in on something would have not being so disjointed and trying to be everything and about everything, but also ending up kind of being about nothing. It's just a little too sporadic. It's not as focused as I would like. So the lack of focus in this movie is the big killer to me. You also, I think before we want to end, like you wanted to talk about didn't you want to talk about the opening scene and how shitty it was?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That probably actually is my least favorite part of the movie. I just completely blocked that out.
Yeah.
Because the opening scene of the movie it's Cade as a kid watching the Saviors on TV. And it's this tiny little TV in this house with like 4 people. And I was just like, this shit looks so fake. There's just nothing real in this scene, man. Like, they got people in the background like jumping up and down, rubbing their hands together, like, let's go, let's fucking go, let's get ready while they're watching football. I'm like, bro, they haven't kicked off yet.
Yeah.
Like, chill the fuck out. They haven't even kicked the ball. And then it's like the visuals that they show on the screen. I'm like, this is like, it's all like glazy and shiny or whatever. And I'm like, this is so weird. And like, they have this weird Photoshop of, Marlon Wayans looking like younger or whatever with his stats on the screen showing the 8 championship, whatever. I'm like,
it was just very artificial.
It's so artificial. And I'm like, this doesn't look like a football game at all. This is one of the moments where I was like, has this guy ever watched football? Like, this doesn't look anything like football. This doesn't even look like people who watching football. I was like, you know what watching football looks like for me? I mean, it's a little different these days, but it looks like me with an iPad in my lap and then a TV on. I got 4 screens on my iPad and then one on the TV because I watch all the games at the same time. Anyways, multi-view on YouTube. Hey, this could be you. YouTube with Sunday Ticket.
Now, this was in the past, so the whole technology
I understand.
aspect, but yeah.
But YouTube Sunday Ticket, this could be you. Anyways, but yeah, even in the past, I'm like, yeah, you know how we watch Cowboys games growing up? We turn TV on in the Cowboys game, we go Cowboys. And then when they score, we go, yeah. And then when they do bad, we're like, what the fuck?
Refs.
But I'm certainly not jumping up and down, rubbing my hands together before the ball's been kicked off. And then they have this weird time jump to like the end of the game where his leg gets absolutely shattered and they like zoom in on it. And I was like, okay, let's chill the fuck out, man. I understand the NFL does have a problem with showing injuries too often. Like when Damar Hamlin died on the field, they showed that collision like 58 times. We're like, bro, we fucking get it. And same thing with like when Nick Chubb got hurt, they showed that one probably one too many times. So they do have a problem with that. But I mean, this guy's leg like shattered. Like they would have been, got an FCC fine for
it was literal gore
on the field. I was like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, it was just really bad. I was like, this just feels fake. And it's even worse because they're calling it the UFF. And then they have like a fake team called the Saviors. And it was so cheesy and so like video gamey, It was. Like that's what it felt like. It felt like the intro to a video game, like a low budget video game. It kind of reminded me of Blitz the League.
Blitz the League is definitely the vibe I got. And we didn't even mention, by the way, unless we missed some piece of dialogue or something that covers this, Isaiah White plays for the San Antonio Saviors.
I know what it is.
Okay. Again, I am so willing to admit that maybe there was a piece of dialogue that explained this and I missed it. That's totally fine. But if not, Isaiah White plays for the San Antonio Saviors. They say, hey, Cam Cade, you got to go train with Isaiah White, who plays for the San Antonio Saviors, which means he should be living and staying in San Antonio,
Texas.
And yet, when he goes to this training facility, around them, surrounding them in this desert area, is mountains, huge mountains that look like, David was saying, Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, that. Like, it was so weird. I was like, that's not San Antonio.
Yeah, I was like, if this exists in San Antonio, I ain't never fucking been there.
I was just confused by that. Anyways.
Yeah, I was like, maybe they didn't ever say his training facility was in San Antonio, but then the owners are there, and I'm like, why are the owners hanging out in Santa Fe? And San Antonio is not like the best city ever. I mean, it's one of my least favorite cities in Texas, but of all the big cities, I should say, there's a 10,000 worse cities. Anyways. But at the same time, like, if I'd rather live in San Antonio than middle of nowhere, I don't know. It was just weird.
It was weird. It was weird.
Yeah. But yeah, this one is, like I said, not a lot of potential. Really wish they focused on the right thing. But at the end of the day, what I saw on the screen was not that bad. I understand that this director is new to this level of production. I'm giving this one a 4 out of 10. It is closer to a 3 than a 5. If someone wanted to watch this movie again, I'd be willing to rewatch this movie. But I'm probably not going to go out of my way to do it.
Yeah. Not to be boring, I just knew it was a 4. It's a 4 out of 10. Similar thoughts. It is closer to a 3 than a 5. But I would be interested in seeing something that Justin Tipping makes next. I think that there is something I didn't say. If you're still listening, I hope that you made it this far. We still got more to go. I love the fact that they tried something. They just tried something. They tried something different and new. And they did say, what if we incorporated horror and football? And so even though it was unfocused and stuff, like they tried something different and it was refreshing. I don't care about how it turned out or the full quality of the movie. They fucking tried something. I just watched the goddamn 8th Conjuring movie or whatever. I'm done. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like I've seen... I'm so fresh off of this like regurgitated bullshit and watching something fall off that was inspired by something that was so fresh at the time with the original Conjuring and a cool scare of a piece of linen falling off of a clothesline and then it goes onto a projection of a person. And now all of a sudden, a million movies later, it's like scary CGI face. It's so exciting to see someone try something different. Yes. And it's really brave and it's cool. And I like it. I like the idea of it. It's sick. All right. I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
And when this guy's ready to make something else, we are available for consultation.
That's right.
dreampod@gmail.com.
Would love to collab.
But we are also going to get into part 2. I know we've kind of talked about what other people have been saying already, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more, see if there's anything interesting trivia-wise, and maybe we'll play a fun game. We're trying to incorporate more fun games, so maybe we'll have one. Who knows?
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not. You'll have to stick around to find out. And we are back with another kickoff.
Woo!
We're back with the second half. We used to say the second half, by the way.
Been waiting all day for a Friday night.
We used to say welcome to the second half of the pod until we realized that the second half of the pod was like 15 minutes of a 2-hour episode.
That's right.
So we started calling it part 2.
I remember us realizing that.
AKA the after. That's how that bit started.
That is so funny.
In case anyone's interested
Yeah.
on how the after party part 2 bit started, that's what happened.
That's funny.
Because we were actually debating IRL whether to call it the after party or part 2. Okay, so here's something that I thought was interesting. So the actor in this movie, who we like we said, we thought he looked very natural. He both sounded like a professional athlete, very boring and mundane in his interviews and stuff, but he also looked like he could actually throw a football. Well, here's what's interesting. He said that for film-wise, the thing that he studied to prepare for this film was Black Swan and Whiplash.
No fucking way.
Guys, I'm him.
You're the GOAT.
I'm GOAT. I am GOAT. I'm going to be the GOAT.
That's crazy.
However, he did also train with professional athletes. He trained with Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. He said that he actually created and this is interesting because this needs to be updated. This needs to be updated because it says that he created a bond with New England Patriots backup quarterback Joe Milton. No longer the New England Patriots backup quarterback. That's Cowboys legend Joe Milton.
Cowboys preseason legend.
Cowboys preseason legend. He said, I think it is so important to telling this movie because I think there's a certain swagger, a certain cadence to an NFL quarterback, like something that you cannot fake. I was like, yeah, I agree. I think if you were too, outgoing, I might be like, oh, that's not how NFL players are. That's not how college players are. They're not like that. But then if you were too recluse as well, or if you were too, shy or not confident about yourself, I'd be like, that's also not how they act. Yeah. So I think that seeing that he actually spent time with NFL players to prepare for this role just goes to show like what we said, like this actor is actually really good. Like you can tell he's dedicated.
Yeah.
I think that really shows on screen. I think that
I agree.
that he should be very proud of this performance, regardless of our critiques of the story structure.
For sure.
Marlon Wayans says that one of the things that he was thinking about for his character was a character like the Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight. He said that he was focusing on a character who seemed to have genuine enjoyment for their bad deeds. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, well, that seems interesting. I think you could have done more. One of the things I said was I didn't know if these people, I didn't know how, first of all, how involved Jordan Peele was. Apparently his production team did help with like the research and the development of this movie, quite a bit in terms of like, they actually helped research for things like setting up the combine and setting up the compound and like NFL training and things like that. But apparently, the creators of this movie were doing a tour of a facility and they discovered a jugs machine, which ends up getting used later in the movie for torture because they use it to...
Sounds like something I would use at home. Yes, please. Mommy, me hungry.
You're going to love Barbarian. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I was like, these fucking nerds, they never seen a jugs machine before. Anyways, okay, so the director of this movie, one of the things that he brought up, so again, so we mentioned, Black Swan and Whiplash, and obviously the main character, the actor, Heath was thinking about those movies too. And, Marlon Wayans was thinking about Heath Ledger Joker. Now, the writer, here's what he said. Okay, he said this movie is like Nosferatu or Ex Machina, but with two quarterbacks. And I was like, I don't understand the Nosferatu one, but Ex Machina, I kind of get. Ex Machina is, I look up to you so much, I will do anything that you want, but you're pushing things a little bit too far, and I actually am starting to realize that you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
So, but then you also realize, actually, I thought you were the bad guy. I was actually being manipulated by people way beyond you. Mm-hmm. So from that perspective, I was like, okay, Ex Machina is another really good comparison. Which just goes to show you, hey, man, if we're talking about Whiplash, Black Swan, and Ex Machina, when you're talking about this movie, this movie was not as bad. People were like, this movie's fucking dog shit, bro. You see what Rotten Tomatoes said? Fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
Fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
We've always said that, bro. All my homies hate Rotten Tomatoes. Now, here's something that I said this to Dan in the movie. I said, so the character, Isaiah White, at the end of like a handful of scenes, he's like, I'm going to go watch film. I got to go watch some tape. And I leaned over to Dan and said, they're going to show him watching film later and it's going to be something fucked up. Now, they do show him actually watching film. It's not that fucked up. He's just looking at fans cheering for him.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just weird and like uncomfortable, but it wasn't like fucked up, kind of weird, which I thought it was going to be way weirder or crazier than that. It wasn't. But they said that was a direct reference to American Psycho, where he says, I got to go return some tapes whenever he wants to get out of a social situation, but he's actually going to go kill people. But anyways, that's all I had.
Yeah, I only got a couple of comments here, mostly because a lot of the comments I was finding were so long and long-winded. Chill out, people.
It's not that deep, literally.
Me after a 2-hour podcast talking about this fucking movie. Hey, guys,
but to type all that shit out's a lot of work.
It really is. So
this shit's easy.
So yeah, just a couple I wanted to mention. Someone said, and I really do agree with this, they said there is a 10 out of 10 short film buried somewhere in here about the cult of athleticism. Someone said, replied to that, said this definitely should have been a Black Mirror episode. Someone replied to that and said, would have made a decent episode of Atlanta. So a lot of people liking some of the stuff in this movie and going, this should have been an episode of television or a short film or so on and so forth.
Wait, these people don't listen to Wild Dreams. That's our thing.
Wait a minute.
We coined this should have been a short film.
Here's someone who definitely disliked this movie more than both of us, but it is a good way to describe their feelings, even though I don't agree with this harsh of criticism. But they said, this is a sports-themed horror movie that doesn't understand sports or horror. Pretty brutal, but I get where they're coming from. It wasn't very scary.
They did not hone in well enough. But it's like, I didn't watch the movie and think they didn't understand either of those things, but that they just didn't pick one of those things well enough.
Someone on a more positive note, someone said, I like weird, and this movie was weird enough for me to forgive everything else to an extent. I definitely thought it was better than the reviews led me to believe.
That's very true.
Yes.
The reviews made me think this, and the opening scene didn't help either. The reviews made me think this movie was going to be dog shit, and I was so worried after that opening scene. I was like, oh my fucking God. This movie's about to be awful. And it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it really wasn't. And then last thing I want to bring up, you know me, guys. I always like to bring up the funny ones last. This one said, this commenter just said, see, this whole story never would have happened with me because as soon as I seen dude lived out in the desert as this cult-ass building, I would have got my ass back in the car. And there were a lot of moments where I was like, oh, I would have turned right around. But, you know, they really cover it by he's not allowed to have his phone. So he can't like contact anyone or, you know, but I just thought that was funny. I was like, yeah, when he pulls up to the whole thing, I would, especially after passing on the fans, spitting on the car and shit. I'm like, I would have just said, man, fucking someone else draft me, bro. Like, fuck this. I don't want to.
You know what I would have liked even more though? If they, like I said, go more the Whiplash route and have him get rid of his own phone. Have him keep getting distracted by that shit.
Yeah.
And eventually he smashes it. And then later he's like, fuck, I can't. I smashed my own phone. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, that's what I would have mentioned. And, you know, now that I think about it, again, the fans are there when he pulls up.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's got to be in San Antonio. They're really making it seem like this is in San Antonio, but there's mountains and shit. I don't know. Didn't make any sense. Wild Dream forever.
Wild Dream forever. Thank you guys for sticking around. If you want to get involved in the conversation, let us know what you thought of this movie. If you went to go see it, let us know what you thought of this episode. You can reach us at Wild Dream Pod on Instagram and Twitter. We are streaming. We're streaming all the time. If you guys actually like sports content, we actually might be doing some sports content pretty soon. The new 2K is out. Obviously, we're always open AMA, so we don't have to be talking about sports all the time. But that is something that we're interested in doing. We would love to do. We would love to get your opinions on if and how we should do that. You can see all of that, interact with us, come watch us, come have fun. We are at Wild Dream Stream on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. But until next time, we love you. We spook you.
Ooh.
Good night.
Ooh.